Last month, the Malaysian government officially terminated its pursuit of the Kuwaiti Air Force's legacy Hornet following a cabinet decision. This ends nearly a decade of negotiations to acquire up to 33 airframes that were intended to serve as a capability bridge for the Royal Malaysian Air Force. With Malaysia's fighter fleet aging and the MRCA program stalled by funding constraints, what will the Royal Malaysian Air Force do next? The decision to cancel the Hornet acquisition followed a detailed technical evaluation conducted by the Air Force's team in Kuwait in late 2025. The evaluation concluded that acquiring ex-Kuwaiti Hornets would expose the Air Force to significant long-term risks and logistical challenges. They identified several key deal breakers. The first one is a prohibitive delivery timeline. Kuwait cannot release its legacy Hornets until its new Super Hornets and Typhoons are fully operational. Delays in those programs push the potential transfer date to 2027 or 2028, far too late to serve as an effective stopgap. Second is technical disparities. While the Kuwaiti jets have relatively low flight hours, lower than the newer Hornets that Malaysia has, they use outdated systems. Upgrading the Kuwaiti airframes to Malaysia standards would have cost approximately 4 million per aircraft on top of the aircraft purchase cost and required an additional 15 months of engineering work per jet. And third, although the US gave a green light for the transfer in mid-2025, specific equipment modifications require additional US approval, adding further delays before the jet could achieve initial operational capability. Furthermore, with the Gulf crisis that happened recently, I don't think any Gulf nations is willing to let go of its assets for the foreseeable future. But why does Malaysia want the Kuwaiti Hornet in the first place? While Malaysia has a plan to modernize its fighter fleet with the MRCA program, this long-term project has faced persistent funding constraints and adjustments, leading to significant delays. Malaysia hoped that the Kuwaiti Hornets could fill this gap, ensuring the Air Force maintains its combat capabilities in the meantime. The Air Force also faces maintenance and operational challenges with its fighter fleet. The Sukhoi has been affected by serviceability issues due to US sanctions on Russia under CAATSA. Recently, India has been offering MRO services for Malaysia Sukhois in India, but this plan remains to be seen. And in the case of the Hornets, Malaysia only has 8 and one of them crashed last August. This inevitably hampered the Hornets fleet's availability and readiness. Acquiring Kuwaiti Hornets hope to boost the number of operating Hornets and relieve some strain on the existing fleet. Now that the plan is cancelled, what's next for Malaysia's fighter fleet? Although the Air Force plans to operate its Hornet for another decade, analysts argue that investing in second-hand fighters nearing retirement offers a poor return on investment. They argued that funds will be better channeled into Malaysia's Capability Development 2055 Modernization Roadmap, which seeks to transition the Air Force to more advanced, future-proof platforms in line with regional developments. In a major policy shift, Malaysia's Deputy Defense Minister announced that the ministry is now looking to fast-track the MRCA program. While originally slated for the 14 Malaysia plan from 2031 to 2035, the MOD is now pushing to move the acquisition forward into the 13 Malaysia plan, which started this year and will run to 2030. As we discussed before in my other video, the MRCA program is the centerpiece of the Air Force's two-pronged strategy to simplify operations by reducing fighter types. The Light Combat Aircraft or LCA program, which was won by the FA-50, and the Multi-Role Combat Aircraft or MRCA program. Several 4.5th and 5th generation fighters could be potential candidates. The Gripen E offers the most cost-effective solution for Malaysia. Beyond its low operational cost, Saab could bundle it with the REI or Global Eye. This is a critical capability Malaysia has been eyeing under the KAP-55 for its C4ISR needs. The Eurofighter Typhoon remains a formidable contender in this race, bolstered by the interoperability benefits of the Five Power Defense Arrangement or FPDA. Its adoption by several nations, including Kuwait, provides a robust technical and logistical network. Conversely, while the Rafale offers comparable performance and is often touted as an ITAR-free alternative, Malaysia might hesitate to pick the same primary fighters as its neighbor, preferring to maintain a unique strategic edge. Boeing is in a unique position to double down on its partnership with Malaysia. They can offer a seamless transition to the Super Hornet, leveraging the Air Force's existing Hornet infrastructure, training, and technical familiarity. Or, now that Boeing's F-15EX campaign in Indonesia has officially ended, they might pitch the Eagle II to Malaysia. With its massive payload and unmatched range, it's the natural successor to the Sukhois. But it has a high price tag, something that budget-conscious Malaysia might want to avoid. Besides Western candidates, Chinese fighters are also in the mix. During Lima 2025, China promotes the J-10CE and the J-35 to Malaysian officials. I don't know what the Malaysian public reaction is to this offer, but buying a platform from a country that is always contesting your border is a risky bet. What about stealth? The Russian Su-57 is technically on the table, but with sanctions and a struggling production line, this jet is not a promising one. Meanwhile, Turkish Khan is gaining momentum. Malaysia is already heavily invested in Turkish defense tech, from corvettes to drones arriving this year, and the cooperation on developing the FE-8 Gempita. So Khan could have a promising prospect. However, after looking at the contenders, I think there's only one logical option, the KF-21. With the FA-50M joining the fleet this year, the infrastructure for Korean tech is already being built. Acquiring the KF-21 allows the Air Force to simplify its entire operational footprint. Instead of juggling multiple supply chains for the MRCA and LCA platforms, Malaysia can lean into a single high-tech partner for its light and heavy fighter needs. I know I'm contradicting myself since I said earlier that Malaysia might hesitate to pick the same fighter as its neighbor. But sometimes, brothers can have the same toys, right? It's the best F-35 alternative everyone can buy, so it's better to pre-order now. I don't see most of these manufacturers actively promoting their candidates yet, but the upcoming DSA exhibition in Kuala Lumpur next month is expected to be a major venue for manufacturers to pitch their candidates. In my opinion, canceling the Kuwaiti deal is the right move. Why spend money on something obsolete with such a poor return on investment? Even under the best case delivery timeline, the Kuwaiti Hornets would have offered a narrow operational window before becoming a liability. Plus, it still cannot compete with the region's new generation of fighters. The truth is, Malaysia currently is spoiled for choice. From the cost-effective high-tech versatility of the Gripen E to the KF-21, the future prima donna of 4.5 and 5th gen aviation, Malaysia has access to the best technology the universe has to offer. The cancellation now clears the way for Malaysia to reallocate its limited defense budget to acquiring next-gen rather than just a temporary and expensive stopgap that can truly hold its own in an increasingly crowded Indo-Pacific sky well into the 2050s. What do you think of Malaysia's decision? Also, what do you think will come next? Should Malaysia buy the cost-effective Gripen E, or should they go for the future's favorite, the KF-21? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching everyone. I'll see you in the next one.